Your ETL job is failing again, no proper error handling. This is the time for pipelines, one of the very major building blocks in Microsoft Fabric. Let's have a look into pipelines. When we go to pipelines, let's have a look into the Fabric periodic table, because pipelines are, of course, part of the periodic table. Data pipeline, there we go. You get all the description, key features, and so on, together with some very common scenarios, orchestrated transformation, incremental load pattern, and so on. I think that's always worth a look because it's like a quick start. You get an idea and you can, from there on, make your own research. Pipelines are for data movement in Microsoft Fabric. You have different tool sets. You have, for example, data flows. They are more for ETL and data loading. But for the moving and the orchestration, it's like a workflow engine in Fabric. Pipelines are really, really, really helpful. Well, this is like, it's like a mental model, right? It's a Orchestra Conductor, basically. So you have the Orchestra, which is like your pipeline, right? Oh, not writing nicely. Give me a second. So you have your Orchestra. There we go. And you are with a pipeline like the conductor of your orchestra, right? And from there on, all different things happen. So for example, first you say, okay, please make a copy activity. And then please run a data flow Gen 2. And then next, please run a notebook. And next, please run the Spark job. Right? And in the pipeline, you track all that, you conduct all that. So it's not you that's playing the instruments, right? But you coordinate timing, you coordinate order, you coordinate the response to problems. That's your part. That's a part of the conductor here. And that's basically one of the major ideas of pipelines in Microsoft Fabric. So what's the architecture of a pipeline? Let's go a little bit into that. So when you have like the data pipeline, then you have first the data activities. Data activities are really important because Fabric is all about data. You have two dedicated data activities. The first one, which I think is the most one that I use at least, is copy. And the second one is delete. Can also be helpful. And then you have a big part is the control flow. So control flow means, for example, if conditions. If this is the state, then do that. If there's a different state, then do something different for each. Do something for every item until when you ever have written some code, you will know that stuff, right? Switch. It's like a multiple if statement when you have multiple conditions. Or wait. Wait is also very important. And then as a third part, you can run Fabric activities. Fabric activities means you call other Fabric artifacts, like a data flow. or a notebook, or a Spark job. Or a stored procedure. Oh, that looks fancy. That's a Spark job. And a stored procedure. These are Fabric artifacts that you can call from a data pipeline. And of course, all this is combined. So usually you start, so this is like first you start with a control flow. If something is in this case, then do this. If something else is in a different case, then do that. And then you often call some Fabric activities like pulling data with a data flow, preparing data with a notebook, and so on. And then in the end, you copy the data to the correct destination. That's a very common part for the copy data flow. But there's also a different pattern where you first copy the data and then do stuff with the data. Depends a little bit on your needs. But these are the defining elements in a data pipeline that you can use to build your Conductor environment. So welcome to the pipeline demonstration. We have a blank, fresh workspace, and let's create a pipeline. This pipeline will import the New York City taxi pipeline. Will import the New York City taxi data in a Lakehouse table, and after that we will create a data flow that enriches the data with some additional data and cleans it up and so on, and then we will combine all that into the pipeline. So for that we can go with a sample data set, New York City taxi data. We will write it in a new Lakehouse, New York City taxi Lakehouse, create and connect. There we go. We only have the option of a full copy for sample data. And here we can select whether we want to create a table or file. We want to create a table, but we cannot revert that. Once we have hit next, finish, it's like done. We will choose append as the method, and the destination is Bronzy. The Bronzy table in our Lakehouse. So that looks really good. Save. And after a second, we will see that copy job. We can name it properly. New York City taxi data. Looks better. And in the settings, we need to either create a new connection or use an existing one. We can say, hey, browse all, and say, okay, we want to do a copy job. For that, we can use my organizational account, which is already well known. That's okay. So that looks good. We can see the copy job, by the way. So we can hit open, and then the copy job is opened. When we go to advanced settings, you see the append method that we already have seen in the wizard, and we see the map to destination also, and we have properties on some of the items like the Lakehouse and the workspace ID, and so on. So that's pretty helpful. We see a run history and so on. So that's nice to know, and this is a very small button here, so I wanted to point that out. Next, we can save our pipeline, and we can execute the pipeline. The execution will take about 30 minutes, so of course I will stop that and continue after the pipeline run was successful. So let's hit run. Okay, our run succeeded. So let's go to the workspace and let's create our data flow. New item, data flow gen 2. New York City taxi data flow. There we go. Good. We are here. So we will first pull in the data from our Lakehouse. Can authenticate with my org account. And we have our pipeline environment. With the New York taxi Lakehouse. And there we have the bronzy table, which is great. Let's hit create. Okay, so let's check some data. We have the pickup date time that we can go with date. That's good. And we can select the columns that we want to hold. So we don't need the vendor ID. We don't need the pickup date time. We don't need the passenger count. Excuse me. That's the other way around. So vendor ID, pickup date time, passenger count, trip distance, pickup longitude, drop off latitude, store and forward flag, and the total amount. I think it's good. There we go. So we have cleaned up a little bit, and we can pick the store and forward flag. So, and just keep the yes values here. So that only shows the rows where a discount was applied. So data is filtered now, and we have reduced the data quite a lot. We can bring the data down a bit more once the filter is applied by filtering the pickup date time from the 1st of January to the last of January. So we have 1 month's worth of data, which makes everything a bit quicker for our demonstration. So let's set the date filter. After or equal to January the 1st of 2015. and it's before or equal to January the there you go, 31. Okay, so now we have greatly reduced our data, and now we can bring in our second data source. Which means that we will do a get data on text CSV. This is on the blob storage, and check the discounts here. So we want we have the data in place now, and want to load the data as anonymous. That's okay. There we go. Yeah, these are additional data sets. That's fine. Okay. And we need to promote the first row as headers. There we go. Yeah, that's great. So now we can unpivot the other columns. That looks much better, and you see the date is fitting. It is just January. So the attribute is our date column, and the value is our discount. So looks much better. Okay, and we need to adjust the data types. So this is date. That looks good. And we can also go with the discount type. Our ribbon is looks a little bit reduced. Here we go. Because it is a %, we can divide it through 100, and we now have the % value, which is helpful. We can format this as %. This gives us the discount. So next, let's combine our two tables. So we can see both of our queries here. You see that. And now we can combine bronzy and our new column with the merge query window function. So let's merge the queries as new, and we will map with the vendor ID. Obviously, that looks good. Now we have a third data source. We need to go with data security. So obviously we can ignore this because it's just a demonstration. But in the enterprise area, of course, you should be careful with the data that you combine. And we have the discount value here that we can now, there we go, that we can pull out. So this gives us the discount in %. Okay. So let's then create a new column, which gives us a total after discount. I've prepared an M query for that. So we now have the total after discount, which looks great. And we can go to the transform tab and go to the rounding. So over there. Okay, so we have everything in place now. And let's go and move that stuff to our destination. So we have a button here, choose data destination. You can say, okay, please to a Lakehouse. And we will go to our pipeline Lakehouse. New York Taxi Lakehouse. There we go. And the table name is New York City Taxi with discounts. So hit next. Okay. So automatic looks fine. Data types look good. So save settings. And we can hit save and run. So it's currently saving the data flow and then running the data flow. So when we go back to our workspace, have a look. You will see that it's currently running, and once it's finished, we can expect that we will have new data in our Lakehouse. You can run activities in parallel, or you can run them in a sequential order. This is not so much a technical question, it's more a question about your data, what makes sense for your data, well, when is which kind of step ready. So, for example, when you have 3 copy jobs, copy sales, copy products, and copy regions. Say it like that. These 3 activities, you can do that in parallel, and then you can do a big join once all have finished. But, for example, when you want to do some transforms, then you say, okay, I start with copy. Next, I transform. And next, I load. This is not, you cannot do that in parallel from a logical point of view. That's important here. So it's more on your side, and always remember, it's always the same story in parallelism. Parallelism has some overhead, always. So for very small jobs, it might be not beneficial to go in parallelism. You need to test that. Let's have a little bit a deeper look into different areas for pipelines. The first one is error handling. Error handling means you start the pipeline, then you've run, for example, a copy activity, and then you measure, okay, was it successful? If yes, then you run transform. If it was not successful, you send an email alert. And then there is the end of the pipeline. So this was not successful, this is successful, and this is the basic idea of all error handlings. You have other patterns like the for loop, for each loop pattern. Let's have a look into that. For each loop. So for example, you get a list of files. A lot of CSVs or something like that. Then you say, okay, for each file, and you see the pattern here. This is a for each pattern. For each file, which then means file 1.csv, file 2, CSV, and file 3.csv, yeah, copy file. So for each. So each file is copied. Then you can transform, for example, and then you can log the completion. That's the for each loop and the error handling in pipelines in a nutshell. Import was successful. Let's check whether our stuff is on the desired location. Still loading. When you see unidentified folders, a refresh helps. Okay, that looks great. Data is here. Let's go back to our workflow, to our pipeline. And let's enhance our pipeline. So this is the New York City taxi data pipeline. The first thing that we want to insert from the Activities tab is to send me an email when the trigger was successful. So settings, connection, browse all. There we go, Office 365 email. This is my account. We will use my account for that. There we go. We are in. Let's hit connect. And we are good to go. And the next thing that we should do is set the recipient address. That's me. Let's go with that. The subject, it's like pipeline result, New York City taxi, like that. And next we can, and we need to connect, of course, the success. So pipeline success is connected. When the pipeline was great, then the email is sent. And now we can enter some text here. There we go. And we should have an expression builder down there. Yes, we do. I've prepared some text that we can use for that. And now we have an generic, very simple email defined. Let's think we could put that even in our subject. That's maybe even nicer. Let's go over here. This is our expression. And then we have a much broader stuff for the body. So let's go to expression builder. There we go. And we need to fix that because it's only copy job. That's the activity. There we go. Put in the New York City taxi data, copy job everywhere. That's looks good now. And now we could run our copy job, and then I will receive an email. So let's test that. Home and save. And after the save, we will hit run. And let's check whether I receive an email. The pipeline is running. We can create a schedule. So let's say it should be executed on a daily basis at 8 o'clock. And it starts today and it ends tomorrow because, well, it's just a demonstration. So this then would be our schedule. And now the pipeline is scheduled. We can enable or disable the schedule. It's enabled, which is okay. And we can add our data flow activity to the pipeline. It's fairly simple. We have a small plus sign here. We can select data flow. And this is the discount data flow. And on the settings, we need to select our New York City taxi data flow. And basically that's it. So now it's currently running. So we have the run now, which takes about 30 minutes or so. And after that, we will see whether we received an email. But of course, the data flow is not part of this run. That would be a part of the next run. Pipeline run succeeded, and I received an email. Let me show it to you. There we go. Oh, yeah, my error. There we go. This is the email. Not the nicest one, but it works. That's cool. So basically, that's our walkthrough for the whole pipeline. And the result is that we have all the data in our Lakehouse with the bronze table, with the discount table. And so we could now create reports on top of them. But that's not the topic of our video today. Now we touched something that is quite a very interesting topic, because there is a Fabric metadata-driven framework by Erwin de Kroink that brings that to a glamorous point. But just to get the idea, it's a so-called metadata-driven pipeline. Metadata-driven pipeline. What's the point? The point is that you want to insert dynamic expressions in the pipeline. So let's say you define a parameter, date equals 2024 0101, just as an idea. Let's say, okay, please, dear pipeline, I want to concatenate a path, concat files slash, and I need to do that. Then you would insert parameters dot date, and then the closing slash, and that's it. So the result out of that would be files slash 2024 0101 slash. And this parameter state brings this expression. But of course, it can change because the parameter can change. That's the point here. Yeah? And from there on, you can say, okay, copy to dynamic path. So you make your copy to the dynamic path, not the static path defined. And then you count, okay, how many rows were copied. Rows copied. And when the rows are greater than 0, then you can kick in transform. And if not, then you skip processing. So, but the main part is in the very beginning, right? You assemble dynamic parts of your pipeline, like for example the path, and then you use that to make the steps in the pipeline more dynamic. And that's a fantastic thing for pipelines. So let's have a look at the community questions about pipelines. So first one, hey, my pipeline succeeded, but no data were loaded. What happened, right? That's one of the number one problems. So first check the conditions. If you did some if conditions or something like that in your pipeline, of course, they should evaluate true, otherwise no data is copied. It might be that for each has an empty array, so there's nothing to copy. Or it could be that the copy activity, for example, found 0 matching files, so it succeeds, but with 0 rows. Well, next question is, when do I need a pipeline versus just scheduling a data flow? So the answer is a single data flow you can simply schedule, no problem. When you have multiple steps like a data flow, a notebook, a semantic model, you need a pipeline. When you need retry logic, you need a pipeline. When you need email alerts and error handling, you need a pipeline. So in the end, you are better off with starting directly with a pipeline, and the pipeline stays maybe with just one activity instead of creating a pipeline later. Just my 5 cents. How do I pass dynamic parameters to pipeline activities? We talked about that, right? You need expressions. With these expressions, you can build the dynamic data, and then you can use the expressions, for example, in your file path. Very common question also, should I use Azure Data Factory or should I use Fabric pipelines? So both works in the end. When you are in Fabric, start with Fabric, it's simpler. When you are already in Azure Data Factory, you can connect the Azure Data Factory to Fabric, but stay for the moment there. And there might be some special features that are still available on ADF and not in Fabric, but of course this is changing over time. I'm a big fan of a Fabric first architecture, so I would prefer Fabric, so you have one platform, one consistent platform, instead of splattered stuff around in Azure. How do I handle transient failures? So failures that happen because the target system or the source system is not working at the moment, but will be working later. The answer is retry policies. On each activity, create a retry count, for example, retry 3, and create also a retry interval. So for example, 30 seconds, otherwise you will hammer the source that is not working, maybe because it's overloaded, so this will not help. For APIs with rate limiting, you need a wait activity in the until loop, and you need to check for success before you continue. That was the part from the community question. Thank you very much for attending, and I really enjoy that you are here and look my videos. If you want to get notified when I release a new video, just subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hope to see you next time. Thanks for attending.